Here are 5 potential transfers that Newcastle could spend their newfound money on. First up, and it would be a rather Robinho at Manchester City-esque signing, and that would be Philippe Coutinho. It's not so often that you hear of Newcastle United being able to attract a player from Barcelona, but this is a pretty special case, and there's basically 3 ways that this could work. You've got to talk about the buying club, the selling club, and the player, and it ticks the boxes. For Barcelona, they could do with a bit of money. Of course, they're not going to get anywhere near the money that they paid Liverpool for him a few years ago, but still, at this point, any little bit would actually help their financial situation, and they'd managed to charge a decent amount for the 29-year-old. For the buying club, it would be amazing for Newcastle to attract someone like Philippe Coutinho. It would really send out a good statement, and of course they're buying a fantastic player who, to be honest, played the best football of his career in the Premier League with Liverpool. He's not walking into the same sort of team as he was with at Liverpool, but having said that, they weren't the Liverpool that we currently know today. They were slightly worse off, and maybe with a few other signings, Newcastle could potentially become that sort of team. The other one is that Philippe Coutinho himself would want to agree to a move to St James's Park. It's clear he loves the Premier League, and also they'll be able to offer him quite a hefty wage packet, which may just tempt him to return to England. Of course, he is definitely the kind of player that a team needs to be built around, and in that perfect number 10 position, Coutinho could be absolute dynamite. He could be that spark of creativity that Newcastle so desperately need, and who knows, could really kickstart a bit of a revolution up on Tyneside. Next up though, and if they can't bring in Philippe Coutinho, there is another attacking midfielder who could do absolute wonders, and that is Jesse Lingard. And all you have to do is point to his recent loan deal at West Ham to realise how much of a good player he can be when given the confidence and when given the minutes on the pitch. Despite the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that Jesse Lingard was definitely part of his plans for Manchester United, it looks as though he's not really going to break in anytime soon. This was, of course, before they completed the signing of the likes of Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo as well. It's moved Jesse Lingard further down the pecking order, and there is no visible spot for him in the starting 11. So, even if it's just a loan move, it would be so good for him to get out of the club, and moving to St James's Park could provide him with a brilliant stage for him to show, well, what he's got for not only the rest of the season, but also heading into England's World Cup squad for 2022 as well. He was obviously very disappointed to miss out on the Euros and won't want to face that kind of disappointment again when it comes to World Cup selection. If he moves to Newcastle, it could be the reignition of his career, much like we've seen with the likes of Joe Willock, who went there on loan from Arsenal last season and did so well that he ended up signing for them permanently. This, for Jesse Lingard, could be a fantastic move, and I think a little bit of an easier one to negotiate than with Philippe Coutinho. Moving on though, and we're going to stick with Manchester United selling, but move to a whole new position altogether, and that is Dean Henderson. I, like many others, saw his brilliant performances on loan at Sheffield United and thought, yeah, he's definitely going to take over David De Gea and be number 1, but turned out not to be. Through injury and coronavirus, it's given David De Gea the chance to become not only number 1, but clearly number 1 at Manchester United, and Dean Henderson is falling out of order, not only with Manchester United, but also in the pecking order with England as well. It was always going to be difficult to overtake Jordan Pickford in the number 1 spot for England, as he is Gareth Southgate's guy. But to do so, you need to be playing regular football, and pretty much for the same reasons that Jesse Lingard needs to get back on track with his career, the same thing can be said for Dean Henderson as well. In the last few seasons, Martin Dubravka has been a brilliant goalkeeper for Newcastle, but if we're talking about quality for the next however many years, Henderson has got to be up there. If they go ahead and sign him now for a reasonable fee, he could genuinely be the goalkeeper at Newcastle for 10 years or more. And the thing is, with his potential, he's got the potential to rise up and be as good as Newcastle want to be. Like, right now, he'd be a standout for Newcastle in what is, let's be honest, a relegation-threatened team. He'd be a very good keeper should they sign a few players and make it into mid-table, potentially push for European spots. And if somehow a few years down the line, Newcastle make it into the Champions League, by that time, Dean Henderson will probably be a Champions League quality goalkeeper anyway. He may even be now. So he's got the potential to rise alongside the club, but for me, this transfer makes the most sense out of any on this list. Next up though, and one that there haven't been too many rumours about, but I really think it fits the signing that Newcastle need to be making at the moment. Yes, we'd all love it if they went absolutely mad and spent like 500 million on bringing in Erling Haaland and Mbappe and whoever. It's not going to quite happen just yet. The kind of signings they need to be aiming for is basically expensive substitutes. Players at top clubs who aren't breaking into the first team anytime soon, but Newcastle have got the money to attract them away, whereas normally they wouldn't be leaving Champions League sides for anything other than another team in Champions League football. And this Brings me to my last two players, one of which is Nathan Ake. He was brilliant at Bournemouth, so much so that Manchester City decided to bring him in, and he's been there a couple of years. He's played his part in the odd game. He's won a couple of trophies, including the Premier League as well. Realistically, apart from winning the Champions League, what else has Nathan Ake got to achieve at Manchester City apart from being on the bench? The likes of Ruben Diaz, John Stones and Aymeric Laporte are all better defenders and will definitely be in the starting lineup when they are fit. And the problem is that if one of those players leaves, or if one of them is injured long term, I doubt Manchester City, given their track record of spending big money, especially on defenders, are going to turn around to the bench and be like, no worries, Ruben Diaz is gone or Ruben Diaz is out for a season, we've got Nathan Ake. They're going to dip into the transfer market. Manchester City have got money to burn, they can attract top players, and if there's another quality defender out there, they're going to bring someone in and it's going to keep Nathan Ake further down the pecking order and on the bench. So, now that he's got all the trophies he could possibly want in England, why not move to Newcastle and be a solid starter for the next few years at least? He's got such a good opportunity to play a part in Newcastle's what I'm sure will be an incredible unfolding story in the next few seasons. He can play regularly, he'd be absolutely adored up there, he knows the Premier League, he's going to get a big pay packet similar to what he's on at Manchester City, maybe a little bit less to start with. I see no reason why this move couldn't happen. And lastly but not least, we come to a move from black and white to black and white, and that is Aaron Ramsey moving from Juventus to Newcastle. And it's pretty much for all the reasons I explained for absolutely everyone else in this video. He's not good enough for the Juventus starting 11. He knows the Premier League very well. He's moving from a Champions League team to a non-Champions League team, but could get a fair amount of money to return to the Premier League where he played his best football with Arsenal. In honesty, in my opinion, I think that Aaron Ramsey's step up to Juventus was a bit too much for him. I think Arsenal was his level. Obviously Newcastle dropping a bit below that, but having the quality of Ramsey in and around the squad at Newcastle would definitely help them take the first few steps to basically set the tone that they are serious about climbing up the table and bringing in some rather big names. I mean, obviously they're not going to bring in absolutely everyone on this list. Who knows? They might do. But a midfield with the likes of, let's say, Jesse Lingard, Aaron Ramsey. They've got Joe Willock in there. There's also Alisson Maximan. That's a pretty good solid start, especially if they bring in a good goalkeeper and defender as well, for what Newcastle will hope to be a continuous building of the team. Like I mentioned before, they're not going to go out and buy everyone ridiculous straight away, so these players are pretty good building blocks to get to where they want to be, as they've all got very good experience in the Europa League, Champions League and internationally as well. So there you have my 5 transfers that I think Newcastle should be bringing in the January transfer window. You guys let me know your thoughts and let me know down below who you would have signing for the Magpies in the upcoming months. Until next time though, I will see you guys later.